Hey everyone, this is David here from SheetsFinance. In this short walkthrough, I'm going to show you how to end up with a sheet exactly like this one, which is pulling in historical financial data using the SheetsFinance extension and then plotting this data side by side for a set of companies that we want to analyze. You will then be able to change the metrics. For instance, I can change revenue to net income, for instance. I can change EPS to the EBITDA, and then I can also change the stocks that I'm analyzing as well, really simply, and so on. And you'll see all that data just updates in real time. So let's dive into it. Okay, so here's our blank sheet. First things first, we're going to open the function generator, which we'll use to help us build our SheetsFinance functions. We use this as a template, and then we do some minor adjustments to get the exact formatting that we're after, and I'll show you how. First, I'll start by getting the labels correct. So we're going to have a year row, and then after that, we're going to have labels that identifies the stock and the metric. So I'll do that, I'll do an and then I'll select the metric, and I will absolute address it. Pulling this down, we now have our labels. Okay, let's do our first SheetsFinance function. I'll go here to cell D3 next to Apple revenue, and I'll head over to the right to the function generator. I'll tell it where the Apple code is, which is A2. I'll then click real-time historical. I'll go down to the income statement. We want the revenue, so I can actually just search for that. And let's do the last 10 years. So 2012 to 2022. And we will generate. And we'll see that function is automatically inserted into cell D2. We'll notice a few things immediately. One, it's down one row because we've got a header row. And two, we've got this line item popping up as well called revenue. So we don't want revenue popping up. We've created our own labels in this case, but we do want that header row because we're going to use that for our plotting. So I'm going to move this function one row up so that we can use that header row. And then I'm going to get rid of this line item. So I'll head back over here to the function generator and I'll turn on no line item. I can also type it in automatically. You'll see up here in the function display that all you need to do is type in NLI as the options argument there to achieve this. So I'll regenerate that function. Okay, great. That's looking pretty good. Let's just do some nice formatting. Moving on to the next one, we then want to drag this down. Oops, sorry. I'm going to copy it down like this. And now what we'll see is we're getting this header row again because we haven't switched it off. We don't want that for Microsoft or any of the subsequent stocks in this table. We want it to sit side by side. So I can regenerate it without the header by turning on no header on the right hand side and just making sure that I'm selecting the correct stock cell. So that's now A3, not A2. So I'll now regenerate that. Great. So we've got our function format correct, and this will be now correct for the next 4 rows. So I can just pull that down directly. And there you go. There's the revenue for the last 10 years for these companies side by side. And let's just go ahead and plot it. So I'll highlight that. I'll go insert, chart, and there we have it. Okay, that's the revenue. So let's set up a second one. You'll see now, because we're already referencing this stock list, we can immediately start changing things, like we can change what stocks we're plotting. For instance, General Electric or Bank of America. But now we want to add a second metric to compare. So let's first do some slight adjustments. In this table here, instead of writing in revenue, we instead want to reference this cell so that we can change it. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just going to click that cell, and I'm going to click F4 on my keyboard to make sure that we absolutely address it. If I then go down, I can do the same thing for these ones. F4, and then I'll drag that change down. Awesome. Now I can change this to EPS, and the data will update. There you go. Let's jump back to the other companies that we had before. And beautiful. All right, let's move on to our second metric, revenue. Well, now it starts to get a lot easier. Let's just copy this whole thing down. We're going to get hit with some errors. That is okay. First up, we need to change this to now cell C9, because that's where our metric revenue is. And we need to change this cell to A2, A3, and onwards. And we'll drag these down. And over here again, C9, and here A2. And we'll drag that down. And now we'll set this one to EPS. So this table will now update to being the earnings per share. Let's make this graph a little bit bigger. Now we're going to open the charts settings. I think I will remove all the series for a second. I will add only our EPS for each stock. Now EPS is a much smaller value than revenue, so let's put that series on the right hand axis. And now we can add our revenue, and that will end up on automatically on the left. And there we go. I mean, a bit of a messy graph. You probably wouldn't try and read something like this with so many lines at once, but you can see it's completely customizable. We can make it however we like. And if we head back to the function generator and we look at the different line items on the income statement, all of these options are at our disposal here to change these tables. So for instance, like I showed you at the start of this video, this could become the EBITDA. And that will now be on the right hand axis. We could change revenue, for instance, to net income instead. And of course, we can change the stocks to any stock that we're interested in. And one last small change, just to smooth this graph out so that it matches our starting slide. And there you have it. That is a quick compare using SheetsFinance to pull in historical financial statements, some basic formatting and adjustment of the function so that you can then select which metrics you want to plot year on year. If you're someone that's quite comfortable in a spreadsheet environment, then you can start to realize that there is a lot more that can be done here. This really just scratches the surface. So jump into the docs, have a play around, but I'll leave it here for this video and I'll catch you next time.